No.
Okay, science class, remember, what are chemical changes? We're going to talk about chemical changes today. Yesterday in science, we talked about physical change. Who can tell me what are the physical changes that you remember? Or some examples you can tell me.
Of the hair, of the body, of the face.
Some examples of physical changes.
Of the ice. No.
The ice cream can have a physical change. How can be the physical change of the ice cream?
Melting.
Melting. It's melting, or it can be solid. It's a change of the matter. It can be solid and then become liquids, right? We talked about that yesterday. We talked about the ice cube. If it is in the freezer, the chocolate, if it is in the freezer, on the refrigerator, it's solid. What happens if you put it at some minutes, hours, or seconds? It can melt, so it's going to be liquid. It's
and
not
the
going to be
cube.
Maybe it can be the
melting. It's going to melt. Yes, it's going to melt.
And the ice of the yellow.
Yeah, the ice cube, it's water, right? There is a physical change.
Yes.
It is water. It's the same water. It's the same water, even though it is, if you say that it's an ice cube, and if it is if you put the water, it's the same. It's liquid and solid. So we have physical changes in that way.
The cut hair.
Okay, remember that a physical change, it's a change in matter that change physical property. It can change the color, it can change the state of matter, it can change the size, but it's the same matter. So it doesn't produce a different kind of matter. For example, breaking a glass. If you break a glass, it changes the appearance. The glass is still glass. There is no change of matter. It's just a physical. You see now broken. You see broken this glass. Now mixing candies. If you mix the candies, also it's the same. There are still candies. Spreading paper. If you cut the paper into pieces, it's still paper. Even though you cut it, it have a different size. It's still paper. What about folding paper? If you start making origami, for example, folding paper is still paper, even though you create different things using the paper. You use some origami, you create some origami, so it's paper. Melting ice, the example that we were talking about. Breaking an egg, it's still an egg. If you break the egg, it's an egg, even though it's broken. Boiling water, it's a change of the state of matter. It boils, so it can melt, it can freeze, it can boil, it can condensate. Do not copy this. Yesterday we talked about that. We copied that. Now, boiling water is one of the states, change of the states of matter, the condensation, boiling, freezing, melting. These four. Dry ice sublimation. Remember, it's one of states of the matter also. Cutting the hair. It's still hair, even though you cut it. And the chopping wood is still physical change because it's the same wood, just in different size. Valerie, you have any question, Valerie?
We have to copy that.
No, you don't have to copy. Yesterday we copied physical changes. What you have to copy is this. Copy this, chemical changes. We talk about chemical changes today, but it's different because in this case, there is a kind of matter. It changed. Copy this, copy everything. Copy everything. We're going to copy this. I'm going to make a square for you. You're going to copy this. You're going to copy this, chemical change. And the examples, yes.
And can I draw?
It maybe we have time. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. 3 minutes to copy if you have the 3 minutes time so you can draw. Chemical changes.
No,
we're not going to copy physical because yesterday we copied that. So chemical changes, there is a change of matter. There is a new chemical reaction. It can have a new product. For example, that combustion. If you can notice in chopping wood, it is a physical change because it's still wood. But when there is a combustion, there is no more wood. It's going to change, and now we're not going to have that, the same wood. So there is a change, a complete change. It's not reversible. You cannot reverse the wood. No, doesn't happen with the rotting things. For example, fruits. The fruits, if you do not eat those fruits and you put it outside the refrigerator and some days passing by, so you're going to see they start rotting. You cannot reverse this. They're going to rot. So it's a chemical change. Digestion is the same. You eat the food, there is a process in your body, and there is a digestion. You cannot reverse that. You cannot put aside all the food and put it one more time. No. So it's a change in matter. It was maybe an apple and then it was digested.
Miss, we have to copy that of combustion, rotting, rusting, and digestion.
Yes, copy this, the examples. Copy the example.
Okay.
And rusting, what about rusting? Look at this nail. So the objects can rust. So there is not a physical change. It's a chemical change, because then when it becomes rusting, it's going to rust and there is no reversible. So you cannot change. It's going to have a new properties. So that's why they are considered chemical changes. Physical changes is different. Remember, physical change is the same. Even though you cut it, you create something else with the paper, it's still paper. So there is not a chemical change. Tell me. Who wants to participate?
What?
Oh, someone say miss.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
The next means I copy the blue,
Yes.
the triangle blue.
Copy this and also these examples. Yes, copy this.
Oh, okay, miss.
Okay, I'm going to take the attendance class. Ana, Andrea, Camila.
Present.
Present.
Okay. Gabriela, Isabela, Kiara.
Present.
Present.
Lucia, Mia, and Rebecca.
Present.
Present.
Rosa, Valerie, and Sian.
Present. Present. And Miss, I have a question.
Tell me, what's your question?
We have to draw the pictures.
You don't have to draw. If you have time, yes. If you finish the copy, we have 2 minutes more. So in this 2 minutes, you can draw if you want. Okay, number 2. Sorry, the boys. Alberto, Danny, and Fernando.
Present. Present.
Hermes, Joshua, and
I
Colette.
finished to
Present.
draw and write.
Okay. Marcelo, Santiago Hernandez, and Santiago Chavez.
Present.
I finished.
Santiago Hernandez, is it connected? Santiago Andre Hernandez Piallos? No, it's not connected. Okay. You finished to draw and to color. Someone said that finished the color. Oh, 1 more minute.
I finished.
Okay.
Miss, can you listen to me?
Yes.
Es que miraba todo bien callado. Entonces, no me funciona el audio.
Okay. Now, let's go to the next slide. Just as a review, remember physical changes. There is not a change in matter, even though you change the size, the shape, it can change the color also, the state of matter, but it's the same matter. But in chemical change, yes, there is a change in matter because there is a chemical reaction. When you are cooking, for example, when your mom or your relative is cooking, there is a chemical change in the things in the food that you are going to eat, because it's not the same. There is no reversible way. You cannot cook and then you put it, oh, it's going to be one more time as it was before. No, it's not reversible. So there is a chemical change in that process. Khaled, please remember, have your microphone off because we can listen to motorcycles and all the cars that they are going there.
Miss, what is rusting?
Rusting. In Spanish, we can say when something se está oxidando. But we use rusting and rotting. Se puede oxidar. La pera se está oxidando. El tornillo se está oxidando. But this is used.
Pera no es oxidado, es like
Pudriendo.
mala.
Okay, mala se está arruinando. Yes. we
Teacher,
can say that.
yo creí que el tornillo era sangre. Eso.
No, that's no. It's rusting. That is rusting. It changed the color. Have you ever seen? I don't know. Other object that it's made of metal, and you see that it's raining, and that object that it's made of metal receive all the rain, and by the days goes by, and the days goes on, then you see that it changed the color. It wasn't color gray, but then it becomes
Yo
like
mira que no era.
another color,
No,
like orange, because it's rusty.
It's not.
And if you put your hands,
Color.
and you touch, you are
No
going
way.
to see that also your hands, they have that color orange, because you can have the rusting in your hands also. I don't know if you have touched something like that.
I
We're going to
have
copy more, Miss.
Maybe, yes, maybe we're going to copy more.
I get un brazalete and there is rust in there. So I
Okay,
thought,
yes, you can have some
but it's
necklace.
not like too rusty. It's a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Too much time for this slide. Let's go next. Now, remember that chemical changes, there is a chemical reaction and it change. So it can change. We have here some examples. Do not copy this. Do not copy this. For example, it can be a color change. As I was telling you, for the objects, if it is made of metal or other object, it can change that it's not gray more. You see it in another color like orange, you see it like black. Now, an example of color change also in the chemical change is, for example, when it's cooking, if bread dough baking, it changes. You can notice because there is a chemical change. It's not in the same color, it's in another color. The smell is different. For example, the eggs rotting. If you break an egg, it's a physical change. But if it start changing the smell, because it smells bad, there is a chemical reaction. Because it's not a physical change. It's new matter created, like the wood burning. The wood changed to ash. So you don't see, it's not reversible. You're not going to put together all the ash and you're going to have again the wood. No, it's ash. It's no more wood. Están cenizas. So it's ash. So we cannot reverse that. It's a chemical change. The gas creator, if you have baking soda added to the vinegar, so it creates carbon dioxide gas. So if you put this, you mix this, we have gas. So there is a chemical change. Heat or light created, like fireworks. When Christmas celebration of New Year, you use the fireworks. That is like an example of chemical change of the matter, because burning chemicals create a light and heat. So you cannot put it back the fireworks. There is light and heat. No more fire, no more that of that. So we cannot reverse it. It's not reversible. So there are examples of chemical changes. Now we're going to watch a video, and then we're going to make that activity. Let me display the video now. Okay, pay attention to this video, class.
You know what's a really great way to learn about science? Baking. After all, baking is pretty much just chemistry, and chemistry.
Okay, comments about this video, class. What do you understand about the chemical changes or some examples that it was displayed?
Before that, an example of the girl, we bake the sugar, the milk, and the all ingredients, and if we put it in the horno, I don't know how to say it.
In the oven?
In the what?
In the oven, if you put it on the oven?
In the oven, the cake is all done. The cake change, the chemical change.
There is a chemical change, that's right, when you create a cake, because you cannot undo, you cannot put back the things that you put it on the oven. So you have the oven here, you put the cake and all the ingredients, and then you create a cake. But once you put outside the cake, it's a cake. It changed the color, the smell, or all the ingredients. So it's a chemical change. But what happens if you just mix all these things and you leave it outside? It's going to still milk, it's going to still flour and all the things. So it's a physical change. But when you cook them, you mix them and you put it on the oven, the process of heating these ingredients, it's a chemical change. There is a chemical reaction there. Okay, excellent. Now, let's go back. Let's go back here at the presentation that I have. We're going to circle. I'm going to give you time to take annotation here on Zoom. You are going to circle the physical and chemical changes. Go.
The link.
Okay, you can circle. Try to use color green for physical changes and red for chemical changes. Yes. For example, frying. What about frying eggs?
Physical.
Okay. Red, it's a chemical change. Excellent. Excellent, Khaled. Ice melting with red. It's a chemical change or physical?
Or green. Or green.
Or
green.
Gabriela baking a cake. Excellent. Lucia, Rosa, yes, it's on green. Marcelo, the lemonade. Fireworks. Excellent, Marcelo. Gabriela, digesting food. Excellent. It's on red. Now there is in color blue. Okay, let me stop, because now there is another color. Maybe you didn't find the color that it's.
¿Por qué pusieron azul?
Let's see, frying eggs. What is a frying eggs class? Chemical or physical change?
Chemical.
Chemical change. Toast. What about toast?
Chemical.
It's a chemical change. It's a chemical change. Okay, let's see the next one. I'm going to clear it. Cracking eggs.
Chemical.
Just cracking, it's physical change. You crack the eggs, but it's a physical change. There is still eggs. What about boiling water? Physical change. Fridge lemonade. It's physical. It's still lemonade. Baking a cake. Chemical. That's right. Slicing bread. If you cut bread. Physical. Lighting a match.
Chemical.
Chemical change. Roasting marshmallows.
Physical.
Physical.
Roasting marshmallows.
Chemical.
Chemical, because it the process of heat. If you heat something, it's going to be chemical. Mowing the lawn.
Physical.
Physical, that's right. You just cut it. It's like cutting the grass. So you cut the grass, it's still grass, even though you cut it. Fireworks.
Chemical change.
Chemical change. Excellent, Khaled. Digesting food.
Physical.
Chemical.
Chemical change, Gabriela. Rusty nails.
Chemical.
Chemical, it changed the color, so it's a rusty nails. It's a change of matter. Ice melting.
Physical.
Physical. And glass breaking, if the glass is breaking,
Physical.
physical
Chemical.
change. Physical change. Physical. It's still glass, even though it's broken. Now we have a homework. I'm going to explain the homework. Remember that we have homework in science, so I'm going to show you here the homework page.
To the
so you
video
can-
to 2 minutes.
Yes. Okay, remember
Explain to physical.
in science you have a homework. It's a video. In spelling you have to complete an assessment.
Spelling. That is spelling.
And science, it's a video. In the school, you have the assessment. I'm going to check that you have the assessment published. Now, I'm going to explain. Let's finish here.